It's time to gather together. Either I'm Yelta and I'll be buying the first round while we chat about Final Fantasy XIV. This is episode 204. Pull up a chair and join us. On the menu tonight, Moogle Treasure Trove, The Hunt for Law commences May 18th. 10 things we learned from the creation of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. Square Enix expects higher year profits thanks to Final Fantasy XIV and more, despite the Final Fantasy VII Remake delay. We'll take some shots with a look at some Novice Network shenanigans, and we'll be guesting on State of the Realm on May 26th. Yay! All right, but first, let's shoot the shit. What has been going on this week? Hi, Ruby.
Hi, Yelta. How are you?
I am excellent. How are you?
It's tough out here to be a news show when there's not a lot of news happening right now. We're making it work. We're gonna put some stuff together. There was a few things out there, and so we've got some pretty okay news that we can share. We'll talk about tomes and all that other good stuff today. But for me, I don't think I talked about this last time. You'll have to stop me if I did already, because it's been a minute. But I got Bard to 80. I was doing some of the what's it called, the Pixie Tribe stuff, and
oh yeah,
I was waiting for Cinna to get to a spot in the story that I could help her with some things, and then ended up she blew past me, and I didn't get to help her.
Isn't that always the way?
Yeah, she just kind of took off, and so I was like, okay. So while she was working on trying to get into the 79 dungeon, I was working on my 79 Bard and got it completed. So that's great. Then I started thinking like, oh, I'm going to have to go get a weapon or whatever, and then realized how easy it is to go get a relic. So, I'm pretty much good to go on Bard, other than, I'm probably a shit Bard, so you really don't want me in anything. But it's fun, and I know people are probably thinking, why did you level Bard first of all the others? But I like the aesthetic. It's not like a meta thing for me. You're not going to pull me in probably for some sort of savage content on a ranged. It's just not going to happen for me because I'm not really good at them, but I enjoy Bard's look, and I like the songs and all that, and so, Bard's one of those two, kind of like Summoner, that, like, although I think Bard gets a worse rap, it has, like, good times, and then it has bad times, and it's got good times, bad times, and what I mean is there's longer droughts, I think, on Bard than there were for Summoner. They try to fix Summoner really quick, you have to go through that first part of a new expansion, and it's really terrible, like 4.0 and 5.0, but then they kind of come to their senses and try to fix it for you in the 0.1 or 2. But now, Bard, I know that you've got now your buffs back, like you can help the party again, but I still see those threads about ranged getting the short end of the stick. So anyway, I like Bard. I think it's a cool looking class, and I have fun with it in PvP. I talked quite a bit about that. I really enjoy rooting people, and I need to get my ass in some PvP because, Rival Wings is back, because everybody's doing the Moogle tome, the Trove stuff, so I want to get my ass back in some PvP and do the Rival Wings. I just never got a good dose of it and understood it. We did it a couple of times, Yelta, and I just really never felt it. And I went through and I read some threads about it today. There's, in fact, a Discord that I was taking a look at, and they run stuff, and they give each other hints and tips. And I was trying to look at some of the stuff, and I probably just need to watch a good video on it from somebody who really knows. But what I got into it with is somebody was posting clown music. And they were saying, this is what I listen to when the Moogle Treasure Trove comes out and I'm doing Rival Wings, because it's just a clusterfuck. Nobody knows what's going on. The robots are all crazy. People are either stealing your robots or they're not getting in the robots. And, it's a train wreck. And that's just where I need to be, where the train wrecks.
It's just in absolute fucking chaos.
Because I have no idea. Let me throw your game for you. Involve Rubicon Vale. Let me feed for you and your team. I'm terrible, but I don't know. It could be fun to do. So maybe I'll get another job up doing some Rival Wings. So that's a cool thing. Anyway, Cinna got through a lot of the content, but I don't think she got through enough that she could finish before that little 8-day trial thing ran out. So we got to get her a sub so we can get everything finished. I was like, you just got to the spot that the story just goes so amazing. Like anything, once you step into that 79 dungeon and move forward, you're just hitting key Shadowbringers content right here. The lore is just going to slap you right in the face. And it's just that slog to me. The story's great, but there's just that slog where you're trying to build the giant robot. It's just a slump for me. The Armorang and Minfilia starts to get to that low point, and then you're like, oh shit. I mean, it's nice to see Ranjit and all that stuff, but then I'm just like, oh, I got to build this robot. So I don't know. Yelta,
well, and then after that, you have to fix the elevator. So yeah, I know what
it's
you mean.
just I don't know. The repair work is just like I don't know. I don't feel it. But once you hit Vaughtry's lair, it's good shit from there on out. So we got to get her through it. It's going to be a good time. And that's really it for 14. It is really all I've done for 14. I had a birthday. Yelta was kind enough to get me a birthday gift. Thank you, Yelta. She got me Thimbleweed Park on Steam, which is a point-and-click adventure made by, correct me if I'm wrong, Ron Gilbert of Secret of Monkey Island fame. And it's that Scum VM style point and click, open door, give cheese to rat, use rubber chicken pulley to cross the ravine, that kind of shit. And I love it. I love those type of games. It's my bread and butter. It takes me back to being 13 years old, playing King's Quest VI and looking for my magic map so I could get through the Isle of the Crown. It's just good shit. I really love it, and thank you, Yelta. I really appreciate you giving me that.
You're welcome. I played it, and I thought you'd like it. So
a plug for Thimbleweed Park if you're looking for something to do and you're into point-and-click adventures. It's a really fun ride with a lot of neat jokes. And what I really like about it is, and maybe some other point-and-click adventures have done this. I don't know. Maybe some of the ones in the later 90s and early 2000s when I was just kind of moving away from that, but. This game has this ability to switch between characters. There's a couple of detectives, and then you start adding a cast of characters as you go. And it's got this really neat feature that once you get to a certain part of the story, you can start moving between those characters and unlocking doors you couldn't with a different one, or finding items and leaving it somewhere else. And you start making those connections. It's not just, hey, I got here and I have this candlestick and this match and I'm looking for an oil can and I know there's got to be something to get me through this door. And you're just kind of stuck within this, 5 frames of something. Where do I go? But you got this other world every time you click another character that you're now behind the door you're trying to get to. And you can see those items that you wanted. It's kind of got that Maniac Mansion thing, but instead of everybody starting at the same spot, you've got different spheres of influence, and it's got some neat features to it. It's got that old music. I told Yelta I had to turn the voices off because it just was jarring to me. It wasn't so much the voice acting as it was that I got to take it back to like 97, man. I got to I can't have speech coming through this thing unless it's like some very important cutscene or something. It's got to be text only, and I got to be just hearing those chip tunes or that MIDI music. Go in the background. I'm showing my age, but that's the stuff that I adore. So again, thank you, Yelta. That's been fun. Been playing a lot of that. And then, of course, Animal Crossing is still a thing. I didn't even buy turnips this week. I'm trying to get out of the turnip game for just a minute. I don't really want to get burnt out so much. I'm seeing so many people starting that AC burnout. I've seen it. I'm tearing down my island. Time to start over. I'm like, oh man, it's only been a couple of months. COVID starts. People start saying, oh, it's open. Everything's opening up. COVID's going away. All that. Now Animal Crossing ain't good enough for you anymore. I'm being facetious, of course, but we took the slow method. I haven't duped one item. I think I did though on accident one time. I put a wooden dresser in a corner and it didn't fit, and I walked away and came back and I was like, why do I still have one in my inventory and there's one on the ground? But then we didn't get into that, and we didn't get into any of the time travel. And you can do what you want. It's your game. You can do what you want. But I'm not burnt out yet. We're still trying to grow some stuff. We're still trying to organize our island and getting some new villagers that we like. Starting to refresh those old ones out that we start going, oh, they're kind of ugly. I need some good looking villagers now. We got Cole, a black bunny.
Yeah.
She's adorable, or he's adorable. I don't know. They're adorable, and I just got some good ones. But my big thing on Animal Crossing is I got a blue rose. I finally fucking grew a
Nice.
blue rose. I've been trying to do this forever. And my wife has kept telling me, stop moving your flowers. You keep moving your flowers, and it's screwing everything up. Well, I'm not happy. I want to move the different arrangement. I want to move it to a different spot. And I didn't like the way I had my yard, so I wanted to do something else. And I'm sure that was a factor, but I didn't want to admit to her that she was right. But I'm sure there was a factor involved with me moving the flowers. However, I had to finally like go that route with like the seeds and grow the purples and all that. And I started doing all those steps to like if I spawn a purple with an orange and get a white, and I could test against a yellow, and I could do all this. And then I just had a bunch of oranges that were around, and I watered those, and then a blue showed up. And I was like, well, fuck all this other stuff. I'm not going through all these steps. So now I just got a ton of purples and one blue, and I got to stop watering my purple so my blue can do my duplicate. I love that you can dupe these flowers. And then once I get 2, I'll go for 4. And once I get 4, I'll get 8. And then I got some ideas of, like, doing some shapes with the flowers and stuff. Our free company member and friend, Raven, came to my island and was like, did you do the shape of Texas and yellow roses by your campsite? And I was like, sure. And so it's like, now I want to do the state of Texas in like yellow and blue roses or something. So I got some ideas, but like I said, we're still going. We still got stuff that we want to do in it. We're not really burned out. And I think that's the approach we've been taking about things. We keep talking about this week after week, but just going through that backlog. I beat Dragon Quest XI weeks back, and I'm working on Cuphead again. And there's some other games that I'm just starting to tackle. I know I added Thimbleweed Park to my repertoire, but I'll finish that shortly. I was talking last time, about I can't play the same genre, right? I can't go to Dragon Quest Builders because I'm playing Animal Crossing, and I can't go play like some major JRPG because I just got finished with Dragon Quest, and I got to have a cooldown period. So it's like I'm either stuck to a platformer or I'm stuck to something else. And lo and behold, I did not think of point-and-click adventures, Yelta. I was not putting that in my category of, like, here's another genre. I was thinking, like, maybe a puzzle game, maybe a platformer, but point-and-click was off my radar. So that filled that need that I didn't even know I had. So that was good. And the last thing I did, because we talked about this on the menu tonight, and I'm super excited for this, and we'll pitch it again before the end, but I watched some State of the Realm because we're going to be on State of the Realm next week on May 26th. That's on a Tuesday. I think it's around like 4 o'clock PDT, but we'll get the times right. Check your local TV guide and see when that comes on, and get tuned into that. But that's on Mr. Happy's channel on Twitch. We're super excited about that. So I was watching She Heals, I Tank, the Shit podcast, and you got to listen to them too and watch them on Twitch if you don't. They're fantastic. And they were having a good old time, and I'm just excited to get to talk about Gather Together. Yelta and I have a long history. We've done a lot of stuff together. We've played together for a very long time. We've got a long history of podcasting, and I think it'd be fun to talk about like our origin story and how our free company came together, and why we're always joking about tits and
everything's boob related.
Everything's boob related, and I'm excited. I like where we are, and I like what we do, and I'm glad that we get to talk about it with other people in the community. And hopefully, I'm more sober than I was the last time I did anything with Happy and Sly, because we were just
you were
3 sheets to the wind. The last time I worked with them at the Limit Break Radio farewell party in Las Vegas. It's going to be good to do it with good vision and a tongue that won't just be drooling and slurring everywhere. I don't know, Yelta. I am going to bust the vodka out though.
I'm gonna have an adult drink that shouldn't.
I gotta have a beverage. So it's going to be a good time. So anyway, that's what I've been up to lately. Yelta, take it away. What you been doing?
I've actually been playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. I have, as I've talked before, I got all 80s on Yelta. So I've got this Legacy 1.0 alt that I played to level 5 or something back in the day. And I'm like, well, let's just use her. So I'm like, well, let's just go through the storyline again. I kind of wish I had waited till they did the tightening up of everything. But in another way, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I already had leveled jobs when A Realm Reborn came out. So I never had the new player experience as it is now. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of interesting. So on my alt, I got to 80. She's a monk. I got to 80. I got through 5.0, and I'm in 5.1 now.
Wow.
And I'm having a really good time. Got sidetracked a couple times to do a little gathering or do a little crap. I'm not really going to do everything on her, but, sometimes you just need a break. Mm-hmm. And I joined the first free company that sent me a whisper. And I've been playing. There's a lot of new people in there. It's kind of funny. But it's fun. It's fun and it's interesting, and it's just really fun playing that storyline through again too. I think I actually liked Stormblood better the second time, and I'm not sure why. It's still not my favorite portion of the game, but I think I might have liked it better the second time through. So yeah, I think it was Sunday night or Monday night. I can't remember when I tweeted. I was doing the level 79 dungeon. And doing the end stuff and hit 80, and then the next night you're doing that first, you do that whole zone in one night and finish up Hades. It was fun. It was a good time.
It's cool. So
yeah, I'm having a lot of fun playing that, and just kind of just talking with some different people and hanging out. And I did a little bit of getting on. I know I could earn everything else or already have it for the Moogle event, but I have logged in and done a couple of roulettes, and then I noticed tonight that I'm many mentor roulettes away from that mount. You have to do 2,000 mentor roulettes, and I'm at 140 or something.
Oh wow!
So I'm like, maybe I should start doing a couple of mentor roulettes. Man, you get a lot of just burning dumpster fires that are 29 minutes in. But they've been actually pretty good. So tonight I got into one. And I got, what's the one where Diablos is at the end? And Dapper Keep? No.
There is one like that, yeah.
City, is it Lost
City
or something?
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, they had wiped at the boss at the end. The healer was gone, and one of the DPS was gone. So I was a replacement for the healer, and then another DPS popped in right after me. And the first thing was, they're like, we have to do the doors. And I'm like, guys, we don't have to do the doors. They're like, our DPS isn't high enough. And then somebody's like, well, let's try it once without doing the doors. Because I'm like, it's not really a DPS problem. It's really a healer problem.
Right.
Because the first time I ran that dungeon that week it came out, I did not do the doors. Mm-hmm. I just healed through it. So we just one-shot it, just murdered it to death. And it was kind of fun because it was somebody's first time, of course, or whatever. And then the next dungeon I did a mentor roulette and got the well, Makaya's or whatever well.
Okay, yeah.
First time tank through there, he got the achievement at the end. This fucking, I don't know if it was a red mage. The red mage is running ahead and pulling stuff, and I'm like, settle down, dude. I would just to hit a regen on him, and if he didn't drop his hate, he could die. And then we get to the end, and it wasn't even really taking that long, right? If he had done big pulls, it might have taken 3 minutes faster. Mm-hmm. So we get to the end, kill the boss, and the red mage is like, fucking let me out of here, Jesus Christ. And then leaves. It's like, holy shit, settle down. Mm-hmm. What are you in such a goddamn hurry for?
Could have left. I mean, take your penalty.
Yeah, he could have left.
Chill
or
out.
asked to be kicked or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to, again, I keep saying, I don't really want to RP walk against my will through a dungeon, but at the same time, if you're going to do, 1 or 2 packs at a time, or I actually did a wall-to-wall run on my alt today. I can't remember what it was, but we're on the last 2 pack pull, and the tank's like, healer, if you're having trouble, just let me know. And I'm like, no, we're good. But it's like, you could ask that at first because it was hard. All I could do is heal his ass. That's all I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, which is fine. Whatever. We got through it. Again, very, running and drive. People, they play it really aggressively, and at the end of the day, they probably saved 2 whole minutes. And I'm like, 2 whole minutes, even twice a night, is you saved how many tiny minutes a year? Just calm the fuck down.
Well, but it's suboptimal, Yelta.
I don't know. There's got to be a happy medium there somewhere between,
No. Not for these hardcore casuals.
Oh my God,
no happy
it's such
medium.
a goddamn hurry.
I don't think an ultimate raider would act that way. It's just these wannabe meta reading wannabe elitists that it's a terrible thing to have to deal with that when you're just trying to do your best in something, and for what? For like you're saying, 2 to 3 minutes more of time. It's not like somebody wiped, and it's not like somebody's RP walking, or you have a macro that's 14 sentences long trying to raise or use some kind of tank ability. I don't know. This game, it's all walks of life play this game. You have to have a little tolerance. I don't know why people have to show their ass. I wish the red beige would have backflipped off a cliff or something.
Like I said, if that tank wanted to pull wall to wall, we did just fine. I wasn't bothered by it, but it just kind of tickled me. And it's like the second to the last pack or something. He's like, heals, if you're having trouble keeping up, just say something. And it's like, we have the boss to finish yet. That was about it.
Cinna had a similar experience. She was playing a scholar, and she was running, I think it was like Malika's Well or whatever that one is. And it was something like, it was her second time through playing, and she understood what to do. The tank was doing big pulls, and it worked out fine. There was a point where I think it was like, 3 less straights, like boom, 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 to keep him going, and it worked out. And then one of them said, like on near the last pull or something, like, "Hey, scholar, you could use what's the one where you put the bubble on the ground to protect everybody on scholar?
Sacred soil.
Sacred soil. You could use sacred soil up here." She's like, "I have to be in combat to pull an Aetherflow stack. What do you? I'm not. I didn't have a charge up for this." And he's like, "Oh, okay." It's like you want to give a tip, like at the last 3 pulls of a dungeon, you've already been through 2 bosses, the tank hasn't died one time, and now this is your moment to feel like you're going to give tips on how to be a better scholar. I don't really understand that, but she took it in stride and said, "Hey, I don't have any Aetherflow stacks," and that was kind of left it at that, and nothing else was said, and they finished up or went on. So I don't know, man. It's people are people. I guess people just think they need to give some sort of word or something. At least this person was somewhat more constructive. It wasn't, "Hey, dingus, why don't you try sacred soil every now and again?"
Would it kill you to use sacred soil? Yeah, see, that's kind of the difference.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. I did have a run where just as we all zoned in and the little circle went away, it was a couple, and they just explained one was teaching the other how to scholar, and I'm like, cool. We run it as fast or as slow as we need then. And if I didn't like it, I could go away, and I just, whatever. I don't know. I play it because I enjoy it, not because I'm just trying to get it over with, I guess. I don't know. What else did I think I bought turnips this week.
Good for you.
I don't think I found a good price. I don't remember now. I haven't logged in probably since then, though. I still like Animal Crossing. It's just, I don't know, I'm not massively killing myself in it. I think I was playing something on Steam, but I couldn't tell you what it was. Nothing. Playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. And doing work from home, so I'm finding that I tend to, like stay around. I have, like, a 7:30 in the morning meeting. And then, like, I go do stuff, and then I come back, and I work for a while, and then I, like, take a break and, like, check my retainers or whatever, and then I go back to work for a while, and then I'll have 2 more meetings, and then I find that it's, like, 6 o'clock, and I'm, like, still logged in, and I'm like, but I put in my time today. I solved everything people asked of me today.
There you go.
So I've been doing the work from home thing is, I'm very, very happy I can do it.
Yeah.
I feel, because there's a lot of people who can't work from home, and I'm glad that I am able to work from home and still remaining, we're on track to turn over everything that we said we were going to turn over in this quarter, so I can feel pretty proud of that, even though I'm not at work. Yeah.
Now, this is not a takeaway for yours. You do impressive work. I'm speaking about myself with this next statement, but there is a feeling when you work from home, for those of you who work from home, at least for myself, that even some of those mediocre accomplishments feel like major accomplishments. Like, got that email sent, time to sit on the couch for an hour.
I'm like, I checked in that program. I can go take a 2-hour fishing break. Yeah, I know.
It's terrible.
I got a lot done yesterday. I'm just going to check some emails. I've been there. This week I'm having a better productive week.
That's good. That's good, because I've got that morning meeting that ends right at 9:15, and I'm like, I got till about 10:30 before I have to, like, re-wiggle my mouse and start to really think about... I need to sit back down and really start to focus. I try to justify it by going like, well, if I was at the office, I'd have been up at the coffee pot and I'd already taken a leak, and I'd be milling around talking about, the last night's baseball game or something. I wouldn't have got anything done anyway. Meanwhile, I'm like catching fish and where's my message in a bottle and how's my roses doing?
Oh, I feel ya. No, and I have one week where I feel like I'm doing really good, and I have another week where I'm just like, I didn't hardly get anything done today. This is a tangent, but I miss not sitting next to the other programmer that I'm closest to on my team, because we have cubes, like just a cube wall between us. I miss being able to just pop over there and talking through things with him. He does the same. He comes over and, we can call each other on Teams and stuff, but for some reason that seems like more of a intrusion, I guess. So I might I did send an email to somebody yesterday. I'm like, can you just let me know? I was just, trying to light a fire under his ass because I was waiting on him. But it's challenging, but I feel grateful that I'm able to do it. Oh, and I'm going to download Dead Space. Apparently, I was told I must play this game.
Great game.
So maybe I'll tell you in a couple weeks that I'm terrible at it, probably. I'm terrified. All right, you can shoot the shit with us on our website, www.gtffxiv.com. Give us a comment. Tell us what you've been doing. First round is news. We have some epic news here. We got Moogle Treasure Trove, The Hunt for a Law. That is running right now until patch 5.3 comes out, which we do not have a date for. And we know that it was initially targeted, I believe, for mid-June. Mm-hmm. And they said they're pushing it back, but I don't think they've really... Oh my god, cat on the keyboard.
Yeah, so they've... while you're de-catting your keyboard, they originally said, of course, we know it's going to be 5.3, but I think they originally... Let's do the timeline here, Yelta. Usually a Moogle Treasure Trove means it's going to be about 4 weeks or so until a patch. Then they said they were already like a month behind, and I read recently something about maybe an additional 1 to 2 weeks. So if you're looking at when this came out, May 18th, and you want to add 2 months and 2 weeks to that, you're kind of looking at probably a closer date. So that's like, oh my gosh. My gosh, you're somewhere in the late July. I mean, are we really gonna have to make it till late July before we see patch 5.3?
Well, and I see people guessing that since this event came out, then we know that the patch is only 4 weeks away. But I'm like, what if it was already in the game and it just automatically turned on May 18th, whether or not?
I think that's closer to the truth. Like, what, really? Y'all doing a lot of work to turn on the Moogle Treasure Trove? In fact, I think they had it slated in the invisible roadmap that we get now. There used to be roadmaps, folks, but now in the roadmap in Yoshida's head, I believe that they had already slated for this to be 5.3 and had an expectation that in 4 weeks there would be patch 5.3, but instead, now because of the delays, they're just turning it on according to schedule, and the only thing that will be off schedule will be the launch of 5.3. So I think they're just keeping the original schedule as best as possible because it don't take shit to turn this on. What, you're just pulling out the old tomestones from way back when, and you're just setting what how much you're going to get per thing and what the prizes are. So, this isn't my favorite content because it's just rehashed stuff. People like it because you get stuff that you can't get before, like I'm sure this Neckerchief and Ixion. People are loving that Ixion is in this, and these are chance to get some mounts and burbs and all that other good stuff that you couldn't have got before. I think one of these Calca or Brenna is was difficult. Has a very low drop rate. I might have to get them
because I have one of them but not the other.
That's what I keep hearing everybody say. You get one, but you don't have the other, and it's very difficult to get one because of a low drop rate. So people are using it for that. And again, Rival Wings has had a major insurgence. Is that the right word? A surge. Now that this has come about, so. Play some Rival Wings, get some Hidden Gorge in, and get you 5 tomes, and those matches last not very long.
They're not super long, no.
No, and start racking them up and enjoy it while it's here.
People are running the Arm Veil over and over again and then complaining about it, and I'm like, guys, this event's going to be around for weeks, right? There's no reason you have to. The last event, I was leveling jobs. I had so many tomes. There wasn't anything else I could buy that I didn't have. I think I bought Fireworks or something just to, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you can go Brain Dead and just run Praetorium over and over. But I don't feel like
I got one of those in me a day. That's it.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting the right bang for your buck for
No.
that. I think Hidden Gorge at 5, you could probably get 4 of those done in the time that you got Praetorium.
Well, and Orborn is 7. That's not always terrible.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse is 6. I mean, that's not hard. But, yeah, probably the easiest way is probably Hidden Gorge.
Yeah.
Let me see. Cutter's Cry. That one's not hard.
I mean, but shouldn't be any complaints because we got a hell of a long time for this to happen. I don't think anybody should complain about it. Running out of time to do it. I think it's lazy content, but it's lazy in the sense like they can just pump it out and it's fine. Like it would be lazy content to me, like with the real meaning of like this is dumb and lazy for this small indie company to do this. I'm not meaning that, but it would. It's lazy content, and you're just flipping a switch and kind of moving a few things around. This isn't we're
picking
rebuilding.
A couple lists. Yeah.
We're not rebuilding fights. We're not adding new music. It's not a huge deal. So I think this was pre-programmed, pre-scheduled. Similar to your point, it's just kind of throwaway content. It is nice that it gets people to do the old stuff again, but it's not some earth-shattering thing. So do not take this as a fleece to tell you it's going to be only 4 weeks away for patch 5.3. That's not the takeaway from this.
I know a lot of the players in my alts free company are very excited because they haven't gotten to the point of like farming these birds and doggos, right?
Yeah.
So them, the Ix and Clarion is like a huge deal, and I'm like, but people still do that. Fate, The only thing I don't have on Yelta, I suppose, is the Neckerchief, so I'll probably get that. No, I take it back. The only other thing, and then I think the Calca or the Bryn are one of those, so I probably will help myself to those things, but I wouldn't be killing if I was even a new player, I wouldn't be killing myself to get the stuff that isn't going away. I wouldn't be
if I was
suffering.
a new player, this should be natural for some new players because some of this content should be in the content that you're doing as a brand new player, unless you skip some content or what have you. But I think for the most part, you can just run things as normal. I don't think anybody should break their back to do this. I don't like doing things with an obligation because it feels like it just takes the fun out of it. Like doing some kind of crash diet or something like that. Like you can't make something like a restrictive and like I have to do this every day. That it takes the fun of dailies away from me. If I'm like I have to do this every day. That's why I didn't buy turnips this week in Animal Crossing. I just was like I don't want to be
obligated.
I don't want to be bound by this. I have to check prices twice a day and do this thing at least for a week. I'm taking a vacation from that shit. So this should not be a type of content that's like we got to run this again, folks. We got to do no. It's not like a weapon or a Ultima fight or something. I think take it slow, take it casual, and I think they've gotten better with the yield per the type of content. I think the very first one they had was just atrocious, the way that they applied how many tomes that you got per the type of content that you were doing. They made some tweaks, but it was a little too late. But now I think they're fine. I think they're great.
All right, and the next item is 10 things we learned from the creation of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. A lot of these are going to sound similar or similar to things you've read or heard from us even before, because a lot of it's just kind of they've got these stories that they've shared with us a few times. Some of them are not new, but I did find it interesting. The video documentary was interesting. Let's just start in here. I think Ruby has a comment for every single one. So I'm going to read the big bold stuff, and then I'm just going to let Ruby talk.
I have some bullshit for each one of them. It's not like some kind of bullshit. It's not like a scholarly oration.
Where's our TED Talk?
Okay.
All right. Well, number one is the writers wanted to challenge basic assumptions of light and dark. That was like kind of the whole thing about like the first video, right? It wasn't light and dark isn't good and evil. It's,
Yeah. Okay. Here's my scholarly statement to this one. No, the light and dark thing, I think about when Urianger comes out and talks about like how, we thought about light as goodness and activity and all this stuff, and darkness was the, the still of the night or whatever. But they really had that elemental property wrong. That light being closer to ice and stillness was dormancy. Light is rest, and dark is activity. Dark is where you got things pop off in the dark. I mean, I try and get something done in the dark, not in the light. I don't want you to see me. So, I think that was a neat turnaround, and I think it helped to realign those elemental properties. 14's was weird to me coming out of 11 because you knew what the elements were, and then it was completely different when you got into 14. Not that the elements were different, but that the what beat what. The rock, paper, scissors were different in 14. And then it just seemed kind of weird, like you had this one triune of elements and another one, and one is supposed to be umbral and astral, but it just really, something felt disjointed. Like, why is thunder dark? Isn't that bright? Shouldn't it be light side? Or why is fire? But then now it feels right because it feels like those elements are active, like electricity is an active element. So maybe, now I can see why something is umbral because it's more active, where ice is still, and it's like, and I may be wrong on those, but you can make a justification for how they would work, and they did, and it was a good lore reason. So I think it's cool. It did turn the part of the lore that we've taken for granted for years, especially since we don't have elemental weaknesses in the game. That we've taken advantage of the elements and flipped it on its head and made it relevant again.
All right, number 2, the first was heavily influenced by the real world. This one's funny because we heard some of these stories before, like on a business trip to Saudi Arabia, the team took the opportunity to photograph the desert, and I know they've talked about the Ronkan ruins were inspired by a temple complex in Cambodia, and I know they've talked about pictures of clouds in different places and stuff like that. So
I just remember being bored at FanFest and seeing a panel about them taking pictures of the ground and going, I don't care. But they've been telling us for at least 2 years plus that, way before Shadowbringers, when we were at FanFest, they've been talking about, how they get the textures and what they go and they look at for stuff. So it's pretty neat that they do that. I'll add an anecdote because I was watching some YouTube videos about some old gaming, and I was watching stuff about Prince of Persia and how the creator was using rotoscoping for those kind of things, and he had his little brother jump in their backyard, and he took that and took pictures of it, and then inverted the film, and then drew over it with whiteout, and then took it to a photocopier and made some pictures out of it, and finally got these black and white images frame by frame of his brother jumping, which became the jumping animation within Prince of Persia. So you get influence from the real world somehow, some way. You make it work, and that's what they did here.
All right, number 3, making the everlasting light look just right took effort and travel. That was what covered in one of those videos too. Is how do you make the light flooded sky look cool and different in different zones, and how do you make light feel oppressive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they cover it. Well, maybe it's within the same one. They talk about in number 7 about sound, but I will say that to me, one of the most oppressing things about the light was hearing the light. I know it sounds funny, but when you've played Shadowbringers, you know what I mean. It's like this tinkling kind of sound, and this kind of like this.
It's like a hum. Yeah, it's got a really interesting sound. It's kind of creepy.
It's very creepy, and it's hard to think light is bad sometimes. I mean, we're force-fed through religion and other sources how light is good and dark is bad, and angels and devils and so on and so forth. And so you think of the sounds of the darkness, creepiness, but you never really think of the light having a disturbing sound. But if you think about, what would the creepiness of eternal light be like if you just got dropped in an eternal plane of light and you were walking like Squall Leonhard at the end of Final Fantasy VIII or something? It's just this endless light and walking and nowhere to go. And what would that sound like? Well, probably like this tinkling sound. Good job.
All right, number 4, when it comes to Shadowbringers fashion, capes are in. They've talked about this a lot, too, with the costume designs and stuff, and how they've told us ages and ages ago, no capes, right? No capes. But then they, instead of, doing what is it? They, attached it to the hem of what would be a hem for if you were wearing a skirt. They could kind of fake a cape.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we've been hearing about it since Red Mage, so it's not really new stuff. But yeah, I dig capes. I think capes are great. So that's my comment. Capes are great.
And capes are great. Okay. Number 5, the monsters were designed to emphasize the game's themes. So, which obviously Sin Eaters and having a stark white coloring is like traditional representations of light, that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they were all cool bosses. I was talking to my wife earlier today about the ending of Shadowbringers. Not spoiling, of course, but like how things have kind of evolved during her playthrough. And I was like, you're about to get to that good part. I mean, it's almost as good as that beginning where you see that chick turn and gets all nasty and dripping. She's like, ooh, it's like that. And I was like, no, it's not like gross so much like that as it is like intriguing like that. So... I mean, I guess there is some grossness with Vautry transforming or some other things, but
yeah,
slime and all that. But what I mean from that is that there's some really creepy designs, but yet they're still light based. It still goes back to that, like, what does like an evil angel look like? We think of demons. Demons are evil angels, right? But not that's. You think of an evil angel, so like how they suddenly have black wings and now they're dark and evil, this dichotomy there where, maybe angels ain't that good either. Maybe angels ain't that great. You ever think that your angel might be the one to get you? That's spooky. Let's write a movie. That'd be a good one.
No,
your guardian angel is actually like your guardian demon, and it's the light that's getting you. I'm copywriting that. You can't take it. Trademark.
Okay, you take that. All right, the Voidwalker boss was unwittingly designed as a mount. So which mount are they talking about here?
What, the one with the chains? I don't know.
I don't know. The Voidwalker boss from Eden's Gate.
Oh, the Voidwalker boss. That's the second one, right? The one that is holding up.
See, and you Google Voidwalker, and all you get is wow.
The one that's holding up lips. That's
what I thought it was.
Sweet lips. The second fight on top of the.
Oh, that all they're just saying is that they didn't actually mean to make it a mount. Oh, okay.
He thought it was going to be
a mount. He thought it was supposed to be a mount.
But it probably makes sense because, thinking it was... Well, even though it says climb on top to ride, there are some mounts that hold you like a claw, and carry you along, or some sort of unconventional not riding on their back. I realize it says here ride on their back, but still, I could see maybe trying to design them. They say, hey, we're going to have this thing carry a character. And it's like, oh, well, shit, yeah, let me make a new mount for that. And it's like, no, this is a boss. It's carrying an NPC. It's not like, So, yeah, I can see that. I thought that's a cool fight design. That was neat. I still don't really get, like, and I guess it'll be explained, maybe not. Like, I don't get why she was wearing that full suit of armor. Like, that seemed just like
they've never explained where she came from.
I mean, I'm sure we'll get that.
Why she was dressed like that. She really haven't. Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get that. But I'm surprised that they really haven't.
Hadn't been really hinted a lot. It was just kind of like, we're going to fix everything. And so that's why I thought it would be stretched out a lot longer. That's why originally I thought, oh, they'll save Shiva for like the next, and then they'll do that. And they didn't. They just were like, let's get this elemental shit out of the way, which I guess makes sense with kind of closing up the chapters before 5.3 for like some Shadowbringers stuff. So, but I don't know. Then we still got to see if this is this going to go into the first? Are they going to combine? I mean, the 13th, avoid something. And there's speculation out here, and the game seems to point this direction. And we've talked about this before. There's this weird feeling like, are we going to get to keep the first after this? Like, is this shit going away? Or is the Crystal Exarch dying? Or like, what? Something is not persisting. Like, our people are going to go home. I'm sure we're going to send all the Scions back. We got to keep the flagship mascots going. I don't really foresee them killing off anybody. I've heard some blasphemy.
Or splitting them or something.
I heard blasphemy. People wanting to kill Urion J.
No!
Down
I've decided that my alt is in love with him. Stop.
Fine. That's how dreadful. So anyway, no, but something's got to give. Something's got to give, and there's a part of me that goes like, are we going to get to keep the first, or are they going to echo out the first like they did the other and be like, the first is gone, you didn't get to save it, it got fucked at the end, and there's nothing you can do when you do that? Or are they going to combine it with the 13th and say, like, we're adding light and darkness and Reen and Eden, powers combined and become Captain Planet? I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, but I feel like there's something cataclysmic that may still happen to the first, that we think that we got it going on. It just seems weird to me. Like, we fix it and then it's just like a new zone. I don't know.
See, but you can't do. I feel like they can't just say fuck it, because they can't make it so you can't go back, right?
Right. Yeah, that seems.
What if
weird,
you didn't? What if you didn't do all the Beast Tribe dailies over there, right? They can't cataclysm it.
Yeah, I know. It just seems weird, but I just feel like something's missing. And so that last thing would be like, are they killing the Crystal Exarch? And I know he was gonna die at the end, and it didn't work out that way. And there's all this kind of ominous sort of thing. So it's like, are we actually going to heal the first? Is it going to fix everything? Are we going to get more lands on the first, and it's going to expand, but we lose the Crystal Exarch? Is it going to combine with something else, and we get it? Plus, there's a light and a dark side. Or I don't know. I just feel like something's out there. I don't know where I got that from reading this Voidwalker shit. I guess it's about Eden, but like I just feel like, or Gaia.
Well, the next set will be the third set, right? Which should wrap up that storyline, right?
That's right.
Yeah. All right, number 7. Some of the sound requests were unconventional. So they've talked a bit about making a person into a sin eater and shocking transformations. What is it? The sound they wanted was pretty vomit. Okay.
Like a dainty vomit. I like it.
Yeah. It was kind of splashy. I don't remember. It doesn't sound like horking. It just sounded like...
Horking? Oh, God. Been there. Many horks in my life.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know. I thought it was a terrifying sound. I don't know if it was pretty.
The visual didn't help. It was pretty sick.
And I had to do that side of it first. I for me personally, I feel like the story flows better if you do Alizé's part first. I think that makes Alphinaud's even more terrifying. But that's the first way I saw it. So, all right. Do you have any comments on beautiful puking?
I feel like it'll give away my fetish if I do, Yelta, so we better move forward.
All right, number 8. The gremlin in the opening cinematic was voiced by a man hiding in a closet. So apparently Soken was having trouble coming up with the, no, somebody was trying to do, it was a junior member of his team, and they could not come up with, apparently, the gremlin voice. So Soken went home and took a hand recorder in his closet and discreetly tried to record what he thought a gremlin sounded like. They modified it a bit, but... Oh, and we did modify the voice quite a bit, of course, but it's my colleague's voice that we used. Okay.
Yeah. Not the first time, right? Didn't they? Ravana was a coworker. Like the English vocals for Ravana was like some guy that worked in the office, and they were like, "Hey, you've got a deep voice. Belt this out." And there we go, Ravana's theme.
I think it's cool. It's cool to try different things. All right. The behavior of trust system NPCs is defined by their personalities. Well, we knew this.
Yeah, I mean...
Alice will not let that limit break get used by anyone but her. Mm-hmm. And Urianger may not heal you.
That's true, and he may die. Had to raise his ass before.
Oh, yeah, and Alice can use for a cure, but it's like she just really doesn't. I thought that was interesting. All right, how did the Nier Raid series come about? Thanks, Steak and Wine. We've heard this story over and over again. That Yokotaro and let's see, whatever they had wine and steak.
Yeah, Yoshida lured him with steak.
Like, they're drunk. They don't remember what happened.
Oh, then they're done that too. And then I horked. It wasn't pretty vomit.
It was not pretty vomit.
I did get back into some Nier Yelta. I went back and I started playing again on the 9S playthrough, whatever, and I hate it because he's so much weaker than 2B.
I tried it again and then I uninstalled it. I'm not good at the hacking game, and part of it might be because I use mouse and keyboard, not a controller. I feel like it's controller.
The hacking game is tough, and I'm on controller, and it's still tough.
And I'm like, no.
I gotta push a little more, but now I got Thimbleweed, so we'll see.
I think I'm just gonna have to go watch somebody if there's like a video that explains all the endings. I'm sure there is, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Because I know there's a lot of people who have theories about what's going on in 14, and I'm like, I kind of vaguely understand the world of Nier a bit, but not. There's a lot of people getting more stuff out of, theorizing and stuff. I don't know. All right, that was it for those. If you haven't watched those videos and checked them out, they're pretty good. I enjoyed them. They got some neat little stories and such. All right, then we have a article from Twinfinite. Square Enix expects higher profits thanks to Final Fantasy XIV and more despite Final Fantasy VII Remake delay. I didn't read this.
I did. And there's stats, but we're not going to go through all the statistics of what happened. But basically, if you look at the recent financial forecast, the company expected net sales to be 3.5% lower than previously predicted due to the delay of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it shifted the game's release out of the fiscal year and into the next. Now, that would be like, oh shit, they made 3.5 lower than predicted. That would be scary, but that's without 7 coming out to make up the gap for the COVID stuff. So what this means is that Final Fantasy XIV is the GOAT, carrying this company on its strong back, made these profits for Square Enix, so that even with 7 being in quarter 2, it still was quarter 1 was still great. Or the past fiscal year was great. I mean, even moving the remake into the next year, everything is still gravy, baby, because Final Fantasy XIV is raking in so much dough. Thank you, Cash Shop. You're doing a hell of a job. And then I guess also the mobile game Dragon Quest Walk, which I know nothing about, so I'm going to click it here. It's probably super cute and makes you exercise, and you get to see slimes all day. I bet that's adorable, but it seems like it's a Japanese-only deal because there's not a Western release. So, I would appreciate that. It might pull me away from Pokemon Go permanently if I knew I was like fighting Dragon Quest enemies every time I walked instead of catching Pokemon. They're both cute, but like, man, I'd like to do that. I think that'd be pretty neat if I could get like metal slimes and stuff if I walk so many feet or something. So anyway, that's what this article was all about, that 14 and apparently a little bit of mobile gaming has kept Square Enix afloat with only a 3.5% lower than previously predicted net sales, and even with Final Fantasy VII Remake being pushed into April, which everybody's still loving. I think 7 Remake was a good deal. I'm not going to spoil 7 Remake, but I did end up watching a lot of it when it first released. A lot of streamers are doing it, and I watched the ending, and I think Final Fantasy VII is still relevant. I think that the way they're going with this is Final Fantasy VII will always retain relevance. I think it adds more relevance to that abysmal movie that I can't stand, Advent Children. And I just thought that was terrible. I'm sorry, but 7 to me was amazing. I had a lot of 7 hate at one time. I had a lot of 7 hate, and I had forgotten that I had 7 love when 7 came out. I forgot how much I loved 7 and thought highly of it, and had the Brady Guide and all kinds of stuff. It was eaten up with 7 for quite a time, until they really started pushing like, hey, Advent Children, hey, Dirge of Cerberus, hey, Before Crisis. Hey, it's like stop, Crisis Core. I called it the ABCD. They had to do Final Fantasy VII, A, B, C, and D. Advent Children, Before Crisis, Crisis Core, and Dirge of Cerberus. They had to do all these damn games, and I called it a cash grab. And then when Female Cloud came out, Final Fantasy XIII, it was another cash grab because they completely butchered that whole Fabula Novala Crystallis thingy and just forced Lightning down our throats. And then she's selling Prada bags or whatever the fuck, Louis Vuitton. I was so sick of Lightning, but I had that same feeling that I have for Lightning till this day. For Cloud for a while, because of how Square Enix just pushed 7 down our throats. And it was really post... what was the failed movie, the Final Fantasy movie that was just, it failed horribly right after Final Fantasy VIII. It made me so sad that movie failed, and it was bad, but it took down, I think it took Square Enix down a notch, and then I think they were like, we got to go with the sure bet. We're going to put Cloud out there. And they just jammed that Buster Sword right down my throat, and I was just sick of it. I didn't want to see Cloud's spiky ass anywhere. And then so when the remake came out, I was like, man, y'all cash grabbing again. Y'all really trying to push Cloud down my throat another time. Well, I watched it. It makes 7 relevant. It may kind of retcon fix anything that I'd like to see about Advent Children. Maybe it fixes all that other stuff, and I think it adds a layer that could be there, could be worthwhile. Plus, the combat looks cool, and it's a beautiful game. It just looks beautiful. So I never hate 7. I hate what Square Enix did to 7, but I think for me, it might be a redemption arc. That was a long tangent out of just this article about 30% drop and whatever.
That is all right.
There was something else in here that was talking about the it was something about the 5.3 stuff, and that's where I was kind of going down the rabbit hole after I read this article earlier today. And it was talking about 5.3, and it was talking, I think there was maybe another link after this where they were talking about the delays. They were saying all the good stuff that's coming in 5.3, but that it was delayed, and that it was possibly delayed another 2 weeks post that. And that's where I was trying to get my math together, about like 4 weeks after the Moogle, the tome Trove thing, and then another month after that, and possibly another week to 2 weeks after that. And that's a long time to wait for 5.3. But
yeah.
if the drought is now, and it blows, we said this before, if the drought is now, and it sucks that we don't have an ultimate or a new dungeon or a deep dungeon or anything to take that spot, because it's just that weird timing. At least we know that there is stuff coming. At least we know that things, when we get into 5.4 and 5.5, We're going to have some longevity and stuff to really stretch us. We're still going to have some relic stuff coming across the horizon. So maybe the vast wasteland that we predict usually is the case at the end of an expansion. We're living it now, folks. This is the vast wasteland.
It's a new and improved vast wasteland.
It's just early. It's just a little early.
Oh, man. All right. Okay, then we have a reminder. I just posted our tweet in here. We're just going to remind you that we're going to be on State of the Realm with Mr. Happy and Sly Fox on May 26th at twitch.tv Mr. Happy 1227, and we are super excited. I think we'll get out the time, as Ruby said earlier, here eventually, and make sure everybody who wants to watch can check it out.
I do think that it's somewhat around 4 p.m. PDT. Now that was like the time that the State of the Realm with the Shit podcast was going. So maybe it's a flexible thing depending on their schedule or our schedule. But I think that's typically the case. Whenever they normally come on, that's when we'll be on. And of course there'll be a VOD, and we'll link it on the website and stuff once it's over with, and you'll be able to hear us with them, and it'll be good to do that again.
All right, then we do have Let's Take Some Shots. This one, as someone who was a Sprout again for a long while, this was kind of terrifying to see. I'm just going to read it. This was posted 6 hours ago on the subreddit, FFXIV. And let's see. It's posted by PLD on Lamia. If you're this kind of mentor, why? I logged on this morning as a returning player since 2013 to get grinding in the Shadowbringers storyline and reach the endgame. And for hours, 2 Sprouts and 2 mentors filled the Novice Network chat with the most obnoxious talk, comparing their breast sizes, how they would gang rape one of the Sprouts, whether a UTI or gonorrhea feels worse, orgies, Mikot girls are so kawaii des. It's hard to read these out loud. Mm-hmm. How much of a small bean they are, how they would bang Matt Mercer from Sierra. I don't know who that is. How submissive they are in bed. How they want to marry the previously mentioned Sprout, ERP, and yelling at each other about how it's burb, not bird, and kato, not cat. Repeatedly told to stop, but persisted and antagonized anyone who called them out, misconstrued their words, and then continued nonetheless as mentors white knighted over them. One other girl asked them kindly to take it to a link shell or something and was told to leave the Novice Network. It's fine to talk candidly in the Novice Network, but explaining in excruciating detail about their sexual histories is too far. It was actually the biggest echo chamber of cringe I've ever seen. What would you do in this situation? I do what I always do, which is copy, paste, and report. That's what I do. And if you have the power in the Novice Network to kick people, then start kicking people. So I'd rather just report because you can get in trouble for a bad kick or something. Right.
And your strategy slightly differs from mine. I typically pour bleach in my eyes when I see this kind of shit.
I report
makes
shit.
Me want to die. It makes me want to die.
In
fact, when I read this,
let the GMs handle it.
When I read this, the thing that got me, I think it made me laugh the most about anything in this, was the whole Matt Mercer thing. How they would bang.
I don't know who that is.
He's the voice of McCree from Overwatch, and he runs Critical Role. He's the GM or DM in Critical Role.
I just looked at a picture of him.
Yeah, you know who he is. You know who he is. And I was just like, how does this happen? I've seen some bad Novice Network. In fact, I had to look and see if this was on Excalibur and see if there was somebody from our free company that was mentioned in it. You know who you are. And I was.
You know what you did.
You know what you did to those Lalafell. I fully expected to see that in here, and I was pleasantly surprised that his name wasn't in here. But secondly, that this is just crazy. The gang R word. Are you
that
serious?
Should have been. I would have instant reported that.
Are you serious?
Nope.
No. That's not where it's about. And it's not about politics either. I don't care what color hat you wear. That's not the place for the Novice Network. Religion's not a place. Don't talk about, your religion in the Novice Network. I don't think it's... I'm not trying to be like you can't talk about whatever. I mean, you can talk about whatever. There are consequences to talking about, touchy subjects and crossing the wrong lines in Novice Network. And I'm not the arbiter. You're not going to see me be the one that passes it down. But we all know what the TOS says, and there are times that TOS turns gray. It's not as black and white as you think it is when it may be about you. We've all seen the stuff about I was using the in-game emotes and I only patted that Lalafell's head 30,000 times in Limbs of Lament, so how come I'm in jail for 2 days or something? It's like, well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's against TOS to bother people or whatever it says, and you fell enough in that gray that they felt the need to do something. You can whine as much as you want, like Karen at Costco, but it's just not going to work. So you have to leave the store, ma'am. You're not wearing a mask.
Oh, because we've seen some shit in our years of playing MMOs, but I just can't believe that this went on for 2 hours. I mean, I can believe it because I've seen it. Mm-hmm. And, and different people have different levels of tolerance for sexy talk. Because, I mean, I could see someone just saying, I'd bang Matt Mercer from Critical Role, but that usually...
I'm sure I've said I'll bang Matt Mercer from Critical Role, but, I'm not talking about it for 2 hours in the Novice Network.
No, I've
talking about it for 2 hours sitting next to my wife watching Critical Role.
Yeah, well, that's the right place. There's a time and a place for every discussion. And I do appreciate that someone asked kindly, could you take it to, In fact, the new free company I'm in, my alt, somebody decided that some of the chat was getting a little bit... Not even that adult, but it was kind of on the edge of becoming adult. So someone's like, can we take that talk?
What is that? Is that second base? What's
I don't know.
Is it getting a handful or what?
I don't know. I don't know. But it was, it wasn't getting R-rated even, sure. But but I think they just got warned off. So someone, I can't remember if I suggested, a couple of us suggested, we're like, we should just have a separate link shell for that. And immediately some of us were added to the Sinners link shell. There's, I feel like you should keep, and then yesterday, the free company had a lot of political talk, and I almost typed in there, can we not? I play Final Fantasy XIV to not think about that right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying you can't, I'm not trying to say what you can't do. I'm just saying it might not be for public consumption. And the Novice Network, we should be all showing our best, kindest face. And it's not really a place, I don't think, for that kind of discussion. It's not a 4chan message board. I just think people get on there and they troll on purpose. They'll say something political or they'll say something about a community or something, and it skirts a line. It's not outright something phobic, but it's just it skirts a line somewhere, and it's basically bait. But it's not a 4chan message board. You don't have to try to bait people. It's not Twitter. It's not something that you're trying to get into a political discussion or a lifestyle discussion with. And it's just not the place for it because there's new people that are depending on that to ask a question about how do I get my chocobo? And honestly, the answer to every question is play the story. I think they could get rid of the Novice Network and just have an automated bot that says, just continue the story. And you'll figure it out. Though there is a need for the Novice Network, but this is not this type of discussion that needs to happen. It's not the appropriate. We know where the appropriate place, and it's Limsa. Absolutely, it is right there after you pour it in. Right next to the bard that's playing the harp, playing the terrible Zelda music. You stand next to them and type this shit out and yell. It's just kind of wow, honestly. It's just kind of wow. All right, and the replies were the highest ranked reply, I think, is kind of the same thing I said, just report them. Yeah. So, good to know we're still pissing each other off in this great vast wasteland. I mean, it only takes delaying somebody 3 minutes in a dungeon to have someone be like, fucking let me out of here. Suboptimal piece of shit. All right. I think that's about it. I think let's do last call. We're going to remind you again. We're going to State of the Realm. Come watch. Come watch it. Of the Realm. I'm very excited to be on it. No, it's going to be good. It's going to be fantastic. All right, then it's closing time. You don't have to stay home, but you can't stay here. You can find links to all of our episodes and blog posts on our website, www.gtffxiv.com. While you're there, leave us a comment, and if you'd like to, you can support us by clicking the donation button. You can find us on Twitter at GTFFXIV. You can email us at gtffxiv@gmail.com. Please rate us. Personal plugs, Ruby.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Rubicon Vale, RUBICONVALE.
And you can find me on Twitter at Yelta Sumasu, YELTASUMASU. As always, thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.